birthday restart.
That's right. That's right. Good morning, fellow Rotarians and our guests. I think if you have not gone out to the buffet as of yet, if you'll take care of getting your meals, and we'll start the program in about 15 minutes. Thank you. Or I'll just go over and pick it up while you're up here. How about that?
How far are you going?
One day I walked up, and I walked over there.
Yeah, I'm thinking just up to the top of the ramp, up and back. Good. What is this shot Good. Yeah, good job.
Imagine there's no heaven.
Retired.
It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Bob. Bob.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. We're going to get started just a minute or two early. We've got a jam-packed program today, so I appreciate you being here. You know, Joni, I kind of feel bad. You're sitting over there all by your lonesome. Oh. And Jeff Ronstadt, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the pledge and song. I've got Gant George coming up here. He has been a member for 3 weeks. Let's hear it. He's going to do the pledge, and God bless America.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
All right. Good job, Dan.
Okay, and next up, moving to our inspiration, if I can have Jim Garrett come up here, is Real Estate Investments, J.W. Elizabeth Properties, and Brown University.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce. All right, so as I was preparing for this, I was thinking a little bit about inspiration and the nature of inspiration and where it comes from and what it leads to. You know, we all like to think about inspiration as kind of like the mountaintop. Mother Teresa, John Glenn, Einstein, the big lofty goal out there in the distance. But as I really thought more about it, inspiration kind of at its most essential basic level is the stuff that motivates you for action every day. Just like we do here in Rotary, we're people of action. All right, so my first question is, what gets you up in the morning? And I'm referring to, is the video gonna roll? To the great philosopher Bill Murray from Groundhog Day here, right? And I'm betting it's not your alarm that gets you out of bed in the morning. It's something more, right? So, and that's right at the very essence of inspiration, the stuff that gets you up in the morning, not the alarm that wakes you up, the stuff that gets you out of bed and gets you moving, all right? For me, here recently, it's become my new daughter, right? Now, this is kind of a well-duh moment probably for those of you that have raised kids for decades, but I just adopted this little girl last December. I'm a new dad at 55, so this is all rookie space for me, right? So she's who inspires me, and I'm still making these rookie mistakes, like losing bets with her that get my fingernails painted blue, all right? I had to leave him that way for a whole weekend. That was the bet I lost that time. But she inspires me because she's been through the kind of stuff that most adults wouldn't be able to handle. Hardship, tragedy, drug abuse in the household, physical abuse. And yet she still somehow, miraculously, approaches every day with this bright, open, positive attitude of service for others. She's always asking me, and again, that reminded me of Rotary, because that's really what we're about. We're people of action in service for others. All right? In a recent conversation I had with her, she said this to me: every foster kid is just one caring adult away from amazing. All right? And I started thinking about, that's out of the mouth of an 11-year-old. All right? She is way mature beyond her years. And, I'm a little bit of a dorky new dad, but I got to thinking about that. And here, really, it came back to the essence of inspiration. This conversation I had with her inspired me to action, right? And I'm very happy to announce that I've launched a new venture. We call it Loaves and Fishes LLC. We've purchased our first fourplex, finished renovating it. We've entered into a contract with the Department of Child Safety in collaboration with some local charities, and we're going to be housing youth that have aged out of the foster care system. Kids that have turned 18, right? These kids, when I went through the training to adopt this little girl, we learned some of the horrifying statistics that happens. More than 3/4 of these kids wind up homeless and drug addicted within a year. All right? So we've developed a phased approach, and we're going to be housing. We've got our first 4 kids moving into our first fourplex on July 4th. We've been at work at it now for about 6 months. We're hoping it goes really well. DCS has put no cap on our venture, so we're hoping to maybe scale it up to maybe 100 kids in the next year or two. It's a phased approach. It's not permanent. They get subsidy for year 1, year 2, and it scales back. All right, so what's my point? My point is inspiration is on the mountaintop and right in your home. Sure, aspire for the mountaintop, but don't miss the motivation that's right at home or maybe sitting right next to you right now. There's a lot of inspiring people right here in this room, and don't miss out on that. The day-to-day stuff that gets you up and gets you going. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. A couple of announcements before we get around to introducing our guests. The first is, as far as I know, it was announced about Mike DeVries passing on the 21st. Is there's going to be a celebration of life that's going to be held on June the 16th at 11 o'clock at East Lawn Palm Chapels. Flowers are welcome, but donations to the Rotary Club Foundation and Scholarship Fund was also a request that came in there. So I hope those of you might be able to attend that celebration of life. And one moment of thought that I wanted to pass on for many of our members, we all know and loved Irene Decker. She's in assisted living care, and what we wanted to do is send some cards around just to let Irene know that we're thinking of her. So if you might share some of your thoughts with her, that would be great. And now, if I might be able to invite up our salesman extraordinaire, somebody that inspires us all the time, and that's our Sergeant at Arms, to take care of introduction of our guests. Chris.
Wow, that's hard to live up to there, President Bruce. Anybody here ever had a shingles shot? A lot of us have, yeah. I had mine yesterday. Yeah, I was feeling it this morning, but I'm good now. Yeah, so that's useless information, except for to show that I have empathy for you all now that have had the shingle shot, because now I've had the same thing. I'm going to introduce some guests for you here. We're happy that you're part of the Rotary Club, and we hope you've had your shingle shot as well. Guest of Mitch, and when I say your name, please, if you're able to stand up, say wave, so we can say hello to you, because we love our guest here. So, guest of Mitch Pizik, say hello to Don Graham. Where are you, Don? Hi, Don. Welcome. And a guest of Jeannie Zeta, say hello to Susan Anderson. Hi, Susan. I like how Jeannie slipped that one in there, and she's able to make that happen. All right, and everybody else is just a guest of Jeannie. So let's say hello to her lovely husband, Peter Bellis. Hey, Pete. And our scholar students, say hello one more time to Paleo Alvarez. And I'm gonna announce the Anderson clan. I want you guys all to stand up and wave. All right. So here we go. Zach Anderson, Dana Anderson, Maddie Anderson, Levi Anderson, and Miles Anderson. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Andersons, for being here. We are 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 Andersons better today than we were the other day. Thank you, Andersons. All right, back to you, sir.
Chris, thanks so much, and you get to look forward to that second shingle shot because that's more special than the first one. So now the moment that I always dread, and that's passing the microphone to our immediate past president, Mark. Just remember, be brief, be bright, be gone. Mark, introductions.
I think you're going to enjoy hearing about our speaker today and what the Ideal Trade Institute's all about. I'm not going to even bother to try to regurgitate Clay's resume. I will tell you I've known of Clayton for quite some time, but only became friends with him maybe a couple of months ago. Had a chance to go over and tour the Ideal Trade Institute. And I went over there just because I was, like a lot of people, this whole issue with homeless has come up to my radar screen because it's starting to impact my life and my client's life. And so I went over to take a look at what Clay was doing with the tiny homes and this, that, and the other, and went in with an idea on what I thought would be something really great to help with some of the homeless issues. And I took some friends with me. Don Bourne. Don Bourne had a completely different thought. He wants to create a little kind of a yuppie village of tiny homes. Dan Ranieri went with me, and Dan is like, well, this is a great thing to solve some of the stuff that we're trying to do with people that are having issues mentally and otherwise. Took a couple of general contractors too, and they were like, well, I've got this great idea. I think what amazed me about what the trade school is all about, not that you won't hear this from Clay, is I think it's a great opportunity for people that want to learn construction skills. And as you know, we're all about getting people educated and working. I think he's got a nice way to kind of go do that. I was surprised to hear that the youngest person in his class was a 16-year-old female, and I believe the oldest person was a 90-year-old male. I think he's got a really interesting program on how he is engaging people. I think he's a solution to a whole bunch of things, whether it is housing, whether that is putting people back to work, whether that's to providing affordable training. I could go on. I came away from there and I just was really enamored with what I think Ideal Trade Institute was all about. So much so that a number of us are trying to figure out a way to help them scale up what they're doing. So I'm going to just be quiet because it'll make Bruce happy. And Clay, please come up and introduce yourself, and let's have a do.
All right. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Can everyone hear me all right? Everyone can hear me? All right, you can. Me and Dan are going to try this thing because he's got to push play for me, and then I'm going to move on and kind of doing a little bit different presentation than probably you're used to. So I appreciate the opportunity to come speak to the Rotary Club about Ideal Trade Institute. I'll start off by telling you kind of about how we got started here. Maybe not. Okay, we'll just move forward. My clicker's not working. There you go. Nope, not me. Technical difficulties here. Let's see. Yep. If you go to maybe we make a brief hint. Got to go to the files and open my file there. Yep. It says Rotary Club. There you go. And then hit the name so it goes from top to bottom there. Yep. Okay, all right. Let's see if that worked. All right. Hey, it worked. Okay. So amongst many things I do is I talk from a distance to try to get my presentation right. So Ideal came at about 2005. I was actually trying to train better real estate agents, and in doing so, I was taking real estate agents and I was putting them on job sites, and I was trying to get them to understand what was inside the walls and how a house worked. And it wasn't the best idea that I'd ever had in my lifetime, putting a 50-year-old lady on a job site digging a trench. I realize that now, but as a young man, I thought that was a great idea. But what ended up happening to me was I started looking at some statistics that really opened my eyes in the early 2000s. And this statistic became very interesting to me, that 70% of all high school students go directly into college. Less than 40% of those actually finish. And 20% of them are actually using their college degree for the field that they're currently in. Those statistics are interesting when you put it in the fact that the average college student doesn't get out of their college debt until they're 40 years old. It became a serious problem, and what that looked like to me, and one of the things that I noticed was that I thought we were going to have in 2005, I saw a big problem in the trades. And when I was speaking back then, people thought I was really crazy. They're like, Clay, we're fine. There's no big deal. We fast forward today, and we currently lack about 1 million construction workers in the United States. We're down 21,000 construction workers in the state of Arizona. Alliance of Builders says that by 2025 we could lack 160,000 workers in Arizona alone, and in the next decade we could be closer to 2 million construction workers that we don't have. That kind of goes and gets a little bit more rough when you take into the fact that 10,000 baby boomers are retiring a day right now. And we've had a knowledge gap that didn't get transferred to the next generation. If you've ever called for a plumber recently, you'll notice that sometimes it takes a little bit longer to get there. And so when we take all of these things and we kind of put them into place, I was trying to figure out what to do about it. And a little while ago, we decided that we needed to really step up our game and do a school. So about a year and a half ago, actually about 2 years ago, we decided we were going to embark on this journey of Ideal Trade Institute. And one of the things that happened is I was trying to figure out what curriculum to write and what to do. And as I pray a lot and try to figure things out, and I was praying and trying to figure out what to do. And the only answer I got was, look at my son. And I couldn't figure out what that really meant. But what it ended up meaning to me was that there was a lot to be learned by treating people properly and understanding the construction role, even a carpenter might do. And that led me on this path of curriculum and how to train people and how to teach people. And I'm going to hand it over to somebody that's better looking than me. If you can push play there.
At Ideal Institute, we are changing lives. Students learn the trades by building tiny homes, which are sold to pay for their tuition. This means a free education by providing affordable housing, all while replenishing the construction workforce. Welcome to the Ideal Institute, where we are building together.
Thank you. He's younger than me, so he looks better than me. So Ideal Institute was kind of born in this idea of training the next generation of craftsmen by building modular and tiny homes. What I learned along this path was something that's called continuity of learning. I started this journey of trying to train people about 18 years ago, and I can tell you every which way, wrong way to try to train somebody in the crafts. I've done internships, apprenticeships, I've done work programs. I have done just about what the world is trying to figure out right now. I was doing about 10 to 15 years ago. And one of the things that I stumbled upon was something that's called continuity of learning. I originally thought that if I taught you how to put a water heater in, and then I taught you how to dig a trench, and then I taught you how to lay pipe in there, that after about 3 to 5 years you would understand how to build a house. It doesn't necessarily work that way. What ends up happening if I teach you a small skill here and then another skill that doesn't correlate to it, what ends up happening is you end up losing both, and very little is learned. And so at Ideal, what we do is we build upon this is where we want you to be. So we take the small things and then we lead you up to that. And what we ended up doing was our students, they come in for $500. They get tools, and they build between 15 and 30 homes in the next 6 months. And they frame them, they wire them, they plumb them, they sheetrock them, they put the kitchen in, they do everything. But the first thing that they do, as you'll see right here, is that they built a bench. That was the first day. So some of these people don't know what a Phillips head screwdriver is or ever used a power tool, and we hand them stuff and say, here's what you got to do. It's time to build. So what ends up happening is the first time that I had ever seen something in all my trainings of meeting with people, you can hit play on that, Dan, is no luck? Just, all right, well, there you go. So as they continually grow and build, they start to build more and more. You can see in this video that our students are framing out an entire house, and this is within their first 30 days with us, which is pretty exciting. What ended up happening, and you can hit play again on that one, was the first time in my life. Normally when in training people, you'll train 10 people, you'll train 100 people, and you'll get 1 or 2 people that succeed. And you always look back and go, well, what happened to the other 80% or 90%? And this was the first time in my life where I had seen people change as a group. And what happened was when they built that first home, I saw people walk different, I saw people talk different, I saw people act differently, and I started to see them believe. And that changed something in our process at the school, was that we realized that people stopped believing in themselves and people stopped believing in others. And so we had to kind of change our soft skills and the things that we were learning at the school to get people to believe a little bit more. And one of the reasons that we think that might have happened is over the last 50 years, we've been telling people if you're blue collar or you don't go to college, you'll never amount to anything. We've done a disservice to some people who have the ability to build America. And we've said that if you can't sit still for 8 hours in a classroom, you'll never succeed. And what we had seen was an entire group of people completely change and start to believe in themselves. And this kind of led us to another interesting thing was the homelessness problem. So we had a student in our class who was living in a shelter at Sister Jose's. And Sister Jose's, right? Yeah, sorry, sometimes I get that wrong. And come to find out at the end of class, we found out that she wasn't always in the shelter, that she was sometimes living behind a dumpster at a business. And we talked to her after she'd completed the 6 months, and she was so proud of what she'd done. And in all honesty, she'd accomplished something that we couldn't even comprehend what she accomplished. But she said to us, this is the first time, and she's over 30 years old, this is the first time I've ever completed something. I've never not quit. Now, I can tell you that she now has permanent housing. She also has a job, and she is being quite successful. But when she came to us, she wasn't. And it came down to that believing and teaching somebody that you can believe and you can do that. And what I attribute it to is if you can build a house, you can do anything. Because if anything else fails in your life, you can stand back. You know how to build a house. Nothing else can possibly get in your way for success. One of the things that the way we build is over the 20 years in real estate. Go ahead, you can hit it. I'll explain this after. Go ahead. Hit play. We wanted a house that was a little different, that allowed you to grow with you. If you asked me what you needed to buy, I'd tell you a 3-bed, 2-bath. But not everybody can afford that. But a house that grows with you was our product, to where it could be added on and continue to grow as somebody's family grows. Or as somebody's family shrinks, we could actually detach it and create a guest house or other units. And that's what we did. So we can get people in starter homes for under $100,000. and we can build homes as small as 200 square feet. Our module homes we can build all the way up to 3 to 5 stories tall and 2,000 square feet. And all of them are built by students as of right now. Every trim, every exterior, every light, every rough plumbing, everything that goes in is built by our students, which is fairly exciting. I threw this picture in here because this is one of my pride and joys. If you see those construction hats, one of my favorite things that I currently own are those construction hats. At the end of graduation, our students are required to sign their hats so I can hang it on the wall. And those are hanging on the wall. I just couldn't resist to put this in there. It's such a neat thing to think of the learning that happened underneath those hats over 6 months and the change that happened in their life. When you come to our school, I invite everyone to come see our school. You can hit play on that, Dan. Thanks. Is the excitement of building. And oftentimes we don't realize how much we love to use our hands, but as we use our hands, we sometimes hate it at first. But when we complete it and we see as we stand back and see what we built, it is absolutely an incredible thing. And the energy in our school is absolutely immense. Of the excitement, and he wasn't 90, he was 80, by the way. But that's an interesting story. Catch me afterwards, because I was afraid I was going to kill an 80-year-old man, and he killed it. And he's still with us and volunteers and works with us now. And it is absolutely amazing to watch these students build and be excited to build. It's pretty neat. So one of the first, as far as it came to products, one of the first concerns I had, you can go ahead, play, Dan, was that we were going to lose the concrete trades first. If you've asked somebody to do concrete, they're not young, and there's not a lot of them out there. And so we came upon a technology called helical piles, and this is how we actually put our homes up. We can do it on concrete, we can do it on piers, we can do it on stem walls, we can do it on concrete slab, but as far as the vision of future goes, it became very concerning to me that we would lose concrete and the ability to use it. Helical piles were designed in the 1800s for lighthouses. They kept ending up in the ocean, and so they found a better foundation. The Burj Khalifa, which is the tallest building in the world, is actually built on helical piles. So we decided to build all of our structures on helical piles. We can do the other ones, but if you've got the best foundation, you just kind of use it. As far as our traditional class looks, we do not have your traditional class. We have a classroom we call warm up and cool down room, but our students do 95% of the learning while they're building. And we allow the environment to teach. We don't stand over and tell them what to do and what not to do. We allow their peers to teach them. And I'll show a little clip here. If you can hit play one more time, Dan.
There are a lot of highly successful people in this class right now, which is really exciting, that are adding to what it is that they're already doing. And I hope you guys get to know each other a little bit better.
I'm really excited. I'm excited to be able to get started. My entire life I felt like I've had these big dreams of building amazing things. But when it came time to doing it, I always got down on myself. Like there would be a voice in my head that would tell me I didn't have the skills or the confidence or the know-how to get them done. And so I'd been bouncing from minimum wage job to minimum wage job, kind of beating myself up and kind of staying in that place of stagnation.
Has anybody ever heard of the word perceptual learning?
When I was young, I did some construction, and then I had some kids, raising a family. I work at the Union Pacific Railroad presently, but I've been looking for a way to start my own thing. I want to be able to build homes, and so I've been looking for a school that can help me get there.
Thank you. That was me again over there. Thank you, Clay. I'm talking to my third person here. So what our students do is what's called perceptual learning. Rather than an environment where we sit and talk over them or tell them what they have to do, we built an environment that they can learn from. It's been theorized since the early 1900s and maybe late 1800s of an environment that teaches rather than a teacher that teaches. And we've successfully been able to do it. It's been very difficult. You'll notice that that guy had a great last name on that first one. It's Joshua Abernathy. We had to beg people to come to our school at start. It was very difficult to get our first 13 students. We now currently have a waiting list of over 30 people to come to our school. We have 60 signed up for this class, and we have people begging to come in. We've spent a year and a half promoting to try to make construction, let's say, sexy again. And we see it in droves of people coming in, and highly successful people also coming in. What ended up happening was we also realized that we weren't just teaching construction skills. We'd realized that we had lost something in our society of soft skills. People didn't know how to show up for work. They also didn't know how to show up on time. And they didn't know how to play nice with others. And that was really interesting to learn because it was always somebody else's fault. And so what we do is something that's kind of unique. You can hit play on that one. We go 2 by 2. So as they go out and build, they have a partner, and each trade they're with that partner. And as the next partnership goes, they switch partners, and then we give peer reviews. Every month there is a peer review that happens, and it's funny because after about 3 or 4 times of thinking it's everybody else's fault, they start to look inward and realize that maybe the problem isn't somebody else, it's themselves. And if they don't get along, it's pretty exciting. We just leave them in the 200 square foot box longer. They figure it out pretty fast. And we've had great people that, you hit that one again. We have great people who think they were great and expert communicators that all of a sudden couldn't communicate the simplest things of, could you measure this at this? Could you hold this at this? And it is absolutely incredible to watch the growth of a human being in as short as 6 months as they go through. Not just the construction skills that they learn, because we can teach them construction skills, but we realized that we had a bigger task at hand, which was teaching them the soft skills of showing up, being on time, being a good human being, communicate. And a lot of it doesn't come down to part of the reason we've lost a lot of what it is that technology has grown so fast that we've forgotten how to communicate between generation. If I go to my old craftsman and I have a problem with him, I just go to him. I'm like, hey, I need you to fix this. Well, that's not a very good job. I go to one of my younger craftsmen in my 20s, I can't go to him until I send him an emoji, and hopefully he figures out what the heck that means so I can have a conversation with him. Not necessarily a fault of us, but a fault of technology that as communication has changed so much, we had this technology gap and this skills gap and in some of the most important things, which is construction. And we currently have a 98% graduation rate. Everyone who wanted a job got a job. Well, we're 100% job placement. At 98%, that's a post-secondary school. That puts us at the highest graduation rate in the country for post-secondary. And we do that with exciting means of showing them that there is excitement in using your hands. One of the things that we find is that 95% of all stats are made up, so I'm making crap up here. I'm just kidding. That 95% of the long-term memories that we have come from taste, touch, and smell. Otherwise, it has to come by association. We realize that the more things we touch, the more things we build, the more things we do, the easier it is to learn more and put more into our brains. And we are very excited about the things that we've done and the things we've accomplished. And with that, we've teamed up with a lot of great people, and we're looking for an exciting future. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak about Ideal and the things that we do here. I'm ahead of my slide, but this is what I'm supposed to say as he pushes play. If there are any questions, I'll gladly take some questions.
Hours, is it 9 to 5, Monday, Friday? What do they do?
Yeah, the question is what are the hours? To teach somebody how to work, they got to work 40 hours a week. So it's 6 to 2 or 8 to 4, 5 days a week. That great question. So it is tuition free. They have a $500 registration fee that comes in. We loan them $2,000 worth of tools. They sign a contract with us that says if they quit or they fail, they owe us $14,000. If they complete, we rip up the contract and they graduate debt free and they get to keep the $2,000 worth of tools. So. So that's part of the reason we have such a high graduation rate.
That's it. That's just flipping the concept of your mind of tuition, really. I mean, because it is.
Yeah,
You know,
and what we learned was that we're trying to teach somebody hard things. In life, you've got to hit walls, and you got to learn how to go over those walls or go through them and fix things. But what's happened in this generation is rather than going through it, they run away. And so we had to incentivize them to push through and see the joys of completing things and building things and moving forward.
Jim, right there.
Yeah. Quick, are you coordinating with the registrar of contractors in a way that then allows your students to move on pretty quickly towards getting a license?
Oh yeah,
as
so
a contractor?
all of our people are. All of our students can graduate and have an R62 contractor's license. About 60% of them choose to take that test afterwards and are licensed contractors after the 6 months.
Joni.
Just one question about the teachers. Who do you get to teach that, and do you need teachers?
Oh, we do. We actually, if someone wants to teach, we put them through the school, or they have to test out by building a module in 14 days. We are always looking for teachers, and what happened was about halfway through the class, we realized that we had done something neat with people, and we were able to pull directly from our students to become teachers. We also have specialty teachers that come in, so we have 13 different specialties: plumbing, electrical, framing, trim carpentry, and we those are volunteers from the community that come in, so that way it's not just teachers teaching, it's actually industry professionals that come in that teach, and that they're scheduled all throughout the 6 months. And the students love that because they get actual people that are working in the trades, and the trades love it because they get a little inside track to being able to recruit some of the students as they leave.
All right, here's Hugh Thompson.
Is there any way that you can hook up with a JTED program in construction?
Yeah, we've talked to JTED, and they're high school, so we're post-secondary. So we had a couple JTED students that came in. They were great.
Marcy Euler.
So what industry recognized certifications do the students get, and do you partner with Pima College?
They get an R62 contractor's license from the ROC, is what they get. They get an ideal certificate. There's no accreditation currently in the United States for trades. So becoming an accredited university there is no accreditation program for it. And there was another question in there. Oh, Pima Community College. We reached out to Pima Community College and they didn't want anything to do with us. So.
I have one more question over here with Dot.
Where do most of your students come from, and do they get paid while they're working?
They do not get paid by working. They do not have the skills to be worth to get paid yet. It costs us a lot of money to continue to train them. And our students, so we've spent a lot of time, here, if you look at my shirt, you can hit it with your camera there. We've done a lot. We hired Edgar Yarbaro, who was a 19-year, 2-time Emmy winner for KVOA. Well, I always mess that up. Sorry, KVOA, and we were able to steal him successfully from KVOA, and he makes a video a day, and we post it on social media, and that's how we've been able to kind of build this snowball to get people in. We had to beg, borrow, and steal from all of our friends to get them here, and then now we've been featured on the news a couple times in Arizona Daily Star, and so we've been fairly we've been able to get that rolling.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Jim, you did a great job on the inspiration, but Clay, wow, that's impressive with what you're doing. He will be sticking around at the end of the meeting. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have questions, so he might be able to take care of answering some more. And just to let our guests know, Rotary, we've supported literacy for years and years, and one of the things we do is we have our speaker sign a book that we put in a Make Way for Books library, and this one is appropriately titled Construction Worker Tools. So moving on, we've got a couple of birthdays to celebrate, of which, I'll say, when we ask, kind of like something about them is, we had some fascinating ones this time. First birthday up is on June the 10th, Gary Olson, been a member since 2017 with Saltillo Equity Company. But something you didn't know about Gary, and I did tell him I was going to say this, and it's like, this explains why Gary's the way Gary is what people don't know is that he was struck by lightning in the Grand Canyon not once, but twice within 5 minutes. So, with an electric personality, Gary, come on up.
So glad to be here. Thanks, amazing presentation. Can we put groups together and come visit Rotary Club? Yes. So after the first strike, there were 7 of us. We were about halfway down in the canyon, and we just sat down to eat our lunch. And I had this moment of this expansion of everything. And then I saw this flash, this tiny little flash way up in the sky. Felt like something hit me on top of the head pretty hard, and it jolted in my chest. My eyes were closed. I opened my eyes, and the same look was on everybody's face. So all of us got hit. And we grabbed our stuff a couple seconds later, and we're headed up, and me and this crazy Australian guy, we only went like 20 feet. We were like, that was amazing. That was freaking great. That was brilliant. And the rest of the crew went not that far, 100 yards up. And they were like under this rock, but they were higher up. It was like, why would they not get hit there over us here? We were hanging out chatting about this amazing experience. There were clouds below us, clouds above the rim. There was a lightning strike that went from way above the rim all the way down on this ridge we were on. It dropped down and came back up a few hundred yards out. And this lightning came all the way across the sky and hit that point on the ridge we were on. I was standing, my eyes blacked out. I saw white snowflakes trailing down. For a couple seconds, my vision came back, and we were like, let's get the hell out of here. I'm gonna ask Jarena to bill me for some Paul Harris money and some scholarship money. How about that? We'll do both. And thank you so much. Great to be here.
Well, after that story, we're glad you're here too. So, next up is Jim Garrett. His birthday's the 26th. He's been a member for a year now with J.W. Elizabeth Properties, Brown University. You guys got to get to know him. He had a number of things, so we picked this one out. I'll let him finish the story, but basically, he was one of the people carrying the Olympic torch in 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. And I will go ahead and let him go ahead and finish that story. So come on up, Jim. Happy birthday.
So, before I forget, Clayton, I want to talk to you about helping me with these foster kids. So we'll get together. But yeah, I was blessed to have the opportunity, and I'm not good with mics. Can you all hear me okay? No? Okay, then I'll use the mic. This was before the 84 games. I was picked in Kansas, where I was growing up, to carry the torch, and it was a very windy day, right? And I'm carrying the torch, a gust of wind comes, and the eternal flame goes out. You want to talk about a moment of panic. There's like 20,000 people on the road. Everybody goes, ah! Fortunately, they were very well prepared for this. The support van pulls up to me in about 2 seconds. The doors fly open, and there's a backup eternal flame in the van that they brought all the way from Greece. I hopped in the van, relit the torch, and off we went. But I brought it with me. If anybody wants to see, that's my actual Olympic torch from 1984, if you want to check it out. Yeah.
Going along like this is, trust me,
It was like it started here and wound up about there a mile later. So I just wanted to say thank you to my sponsors, Matt Blair, Jen Hoffman, my mentor, Jim Wood, who I don't see here today, and just thanks to all of you for the privilege of being part of this club and making a difference in Tucson. It's such a joy to be here. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Sergeant at Arms, I think we got a raffle. What kind of money we got going today?
I have, I think, $53 in my pocket to the winner, and we have $640 in the pot. You're going to pick our winner, Clay. Yeah, pressure's on.
176.
All right. So the winner is 177. Sorry, Bruce. 057. Ah, Gene! All right. I'm going to give you the 54, and then we're going to see if we pick the king of clubs if that wins.
He was my sergeant at arms too.
Yeah, I was okay. Five of hearts. All right.
So close.
So
Well,
close.
not
I'm going to
close
give you
at
the
all.
five of hearts as a consolation prize, though, and $53. Thanks, Clay.
Thanks so much, Chris. A quick announcements I want, well, I've got a few announcements to make, but many of you remember Jay Zucker, and Jay had moved up to the White Mountains. He actually is the proud past president of the Rotary Club up there in the White Mountains, but he actually put together, this is happening July 1st through July 7th. It's a Freedom, as in freedom, concert series up there. And we've got information on the backboard. So I know a lot of you truck on up to the White Mountains during the summer, especially over 4th of July. I know Jay would love to have the chance to see you. So if it's anything you have interest in, please take a look. And so racking up my miles of memory. So finished off the month of May at 195 miles and 6.21 a day. So year to date, I'm at 2,057 miles. And I took a look back in the mid-'70s, I was backpacking on the Appalachian Trail. And the total Appalachian Trail is 1,190 miles. So I figure that by the end of my Rotary term I will have completed the Appalachian Trail. So appreciate all the support that I've had from so many of you that have been donating. A couple other quick announcements before we get to the important announcements that are going to take place is keeping with the tradition that started under past President Mark. Is on the 21st we're going to do an open mic. We're going to have kind of 1-minute intervals. We're going to have time in between to be able to socialize. Going to have a few other fun things that are going on. So that'll be 2 weeks from now. So not that I'm counting, but 2 weeks, as in I have one more meeting and then open mic meeting. So, and last but not least is the close of administration is going to be up at the Omni Tucson National. It will be on Saturday the 24th. It'll start at 6 o'clock in the evening, $75 per person, and I hope that I see many of you there. So now, Jeannie, if I can have you come up here, because we have some important things to take care of. Well, you're going to introduce Paulin. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Hey, he's been here for a year. He's got a license plate on his back, for God's sake.
He can't drive yet.
He can't drive yet.
All right. Well, this is a very exciting day because, as most of you know, back on July 31st, Pelayo Novo Alvarez came from Vigo, Spain, and Jen Hoffman and her 2 sons were there with me and Pat Patton to greet him at the airport. And his smiling face and his his bright eyes, despite being tired, and his warm personality really touched our hearts. And he had a wonderful time with the Hoffman's family for literally like 5 months. And then he had a short stint over district conference staying with the Lowells. And then over Christmas, he had a little bit at Pete and our house, and went then to Daryl and Anna and Serena Stewart's for part of winter break. And then he went to Faye Morse and Eric Smith's house from December 28th until the beginning of April, and I wish they could be here also to thank, because I want to thank them. They actually were the very first host family that stepped up when we first talked about this a year ago, April. And then we are so blessed that he was able to go to the Anderson's house, to Zach and Dana and Madeline and Levi and Miles Anderson, who have just given him a wonderful, large family, everybody together doing lots of fun things, and the 2 dogs too. And we thank all of the host families that have provided Pelayo just a wonderful opportunity here. And now I want to turn it over to Pelayo to share with you. He has a really neat presentation. He'd like to share with you a little bit about his country and his experiences here. And there might be questions afterwards. We'll see. And I have a
Thank you, Jeannie, for introducing me in such a beautiful way. Thank you so much. Hi, as she said, I'm Pelayo Novo Alvarez. I've been here for little over 10 months. I think that it's been a wonderful time, if I'm honest. And I'm here to talk a little bit of what's the exchange and actually what was my experience here in Tucson and with this awesome club that I've been here. Something that I kind of I've been practicing at home this presentation, okay, so bear with me for a little bit. I'm gonna try some tips that I learned in RILA, that this club was actually one of the reasons that I could go there. I mentioned it in one of the past meetings that I arrived here. And the first topic that I wanted to talk about is the good and hard times about the exchange, okay? The actual reality of the exchange, Dan, could you go a little bit back? I don't know if that's gonna work all right. Yeah, it works. Okay, perfect. The reality of the exchange is that it's an actual really hard time. For the first months, you actually have to really push through all your feelings, and that's actually something that happened to me. Actually, Jennifer Hoffman knows about it, because on the first months, I was really in the house, couldn't get out of bed, and that's some of the biggest impediments of the exchange, that you need to work through really tough situations. For some time, you can actually, oh my God, sorry. In the exchange, nothing is everything black or white. You always need to seek positivity in every situation. And actually, that's what happened to me. For 5 long months, I actually wouldn't hang out with most people. Sadly, both of my friend groups, they just stopped being friends with me. And I actually, my idea here was like to kind of give ideas to the next exchange student that this club is hosting. The next outbound, that it was going to be Luca. He's going to Japan next year. He's not here, so I can't give him these tips. But still, I wanted to talk a little bit about it. Some of the things that happened to me, it was that mainly because of how things happen, I ended up being by myself. And that's one of the worst things that you can do in exchange, because it's a time to just relax and have fun with your friends. Dan, could you press there? Thank you. To the second one. Here, I wanted to show you since the beginning the photos, but still you can hear, maybe you have noticed that my expression changes throughout the whole exchange. This is also because the exchange forces you to grow, okay? When I came here, I really didn't know barely anything about myself, barely anything about English, the culture, or even Spain. I still have doubts about that. However, coming here throughout the whole exchange, it makes you think. It gives you enough time by yourself to build up your personality, to actually rediscover everything. In my example, I've always been a really social person, and as I said before, those 5 months were really hard on me. I've always had like the same group of friends. However, now in this new situation, I have to rebuild, be more outgoing, something that it was really hard for me at first. And actually, during those 5 months that I was by myself, my wrestling team, it was my only company. That doesn't mean that it's gonna work perfectly out. For example, in my case, my wrestling team, it wasn't the most welcoming. I actually had a really unexpected encounter with another exchange student from Spain in Zaguarita, and we could actually compare wrestling teams. His wrestling team was a family. Mine was not really. Mine was actually really divided, and it was something that at the end made me grew into realizing that I'm not always the problem at that time of socializing. Sometimes it's the person or even the situation, something that I actually really helped me in new situations, like going to Tulsa, when I met a bunch of different exchange students, when I actually got most of these pins. That is one of the biggest things of Rotary Youth Exchange. That is that you get a blazer and you share all, like you trade pins to just build memories. This is gonna be probably I'm actually thinking on just putting on my wall. Then here, something that the exchange gave me is that it gave me more depth into my personality and also into what I consider my abilities. Because when I came here, wrestling, it seemed crazy. By the way, just checking a little bit, like are there any wrestlers in here or
Farmer.
Moms? That also works. That's probably harder, and that's also probably harder if I'm honest. And now actually talking about what are my interests, could you go? Thank you. Here, I have actually drawn all of these. These are my sister, my brother, and me. Ana Novo Alvarez, Jaime Novo Alvarez, and me. I'm gonna kind of talk a little bit about myself in here. I'm actually a really big mixture of all my family. I have both physical characters of my dad and my mom, and actually interests that I share with both my brothers. For example, with my sister, she's always been like art inclined. She's always dance or synchronized swimming. However, she's the older sister, so she knows how to wrestle. Never take any single class. She's better than me. Like, it's impressive. And basically, I actually shared both of those things. With her, I've played the saxophone for 8 years now, and it's my first year playing piano. I'm being self-taught. I'm not that good. The Anderson family can tell you that. And then with my brother, he's actually pretty good at drawing, even though he's not one of his hobbies. He's really good at pattern drawing and at designing. And I actually share that with him. I really like both digital drawing and right now and realistic drawing. I'm focusing more on watercolor and ink drawing that you can see there. And he also started when he was 5 years old playing tennis. I followed him. I started when I was 3 years old. And that helped me in tennis this year in my tennis team at my high school. And something that is make me maybe more unique about me is that I really enjoy photography. I have never taken a lesson. This year I was going to take one, but I decided to change it for psychology. That is something that I actually fall in love this year with. And thank you. And now I'm going to talk what I consider that I'm actually really passionate about this slide. That is my third home, the home of the Nighthawks, Ironwood Ridge. In here, I was able to be part of 3 different families, and I also want to talk about what is entering a new high school in the U.S. coming from Spain. Here, I was part of 3 families. The wrestling team, as I said, I'm not going to talk more about it. Don't worry about it. Then the jazz band program that actually I'm super proud of, and the tennis team. This was my first actual year competing. In jazz band, we played a total of 16 different pieces, big band charts. And I played in 5 of these. That it would be bossa nova, the most known, and probably more than one person is gonna know it here. Freddie Freeloader, Manteca, Fascinating Rhythm, and God Bless the Child, and a total of 8 different combos. And I only played in one of those. That it would be. I think that it was, what's the name of this one? It was 4th Avenue. That's the name of the combo. This year we actually did make it to state. We got a Superior with Excellence. We got a Superiors with Excellence in the eliminatories. And this is actually something that only 5% of all bands in high school actually get when they make it to state. And finally, tennis team. I want to talk a little bit what was my first day here in tennis. I was really nervous, obviously, and I actually was thinking the whole day, okay, I don't wanna think that I'm gonna destroy everybody because I've been playing for longer. I don't wanna be like this all the time. I wanna be chill about it. I did destroy them. I did. Number 2 in varsity, we actually made it to state this year, and for my first year competing, I'm probably gonna just make everything bigger when I get back to Spain. I'm probably gonna say that we won a state in Arizona. Obviously, what do you expect me to do? Come on. And now, wait a second. Could you go to the next one then? No, that one. Just click in, if not, just click in the arrow. Whoa. There, it works like that. Well, here I'm going to kind of explain what's going on in this slide. I'm actually going to talk a little bit about Spain, about my culture. What? There we go. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Spain, about my culture, and also I want to talk a little bit of what was the difference coming from Spain. Spain is a little bit bigger than Arizona, actually, so I kind of felt at home that way. It's only a little bit more humid than Arizona. We don't have a desert. Well, no, we actually do have a desert. On the southern part, it's not as cool as Tucson, obviously. But basically, we have a total of 17 states and 5 different languages. I speak one of those, that is Galician. There is a mixture between Portuguese and Spanish, and that's actually not the worst one, but is the only one that you can actually understand, only knowing Spanish. Also, in Spain, coming from there, one of the biggest differences would be also the language, but also how people, what is their relation with people. When I'm in Spain, I actually was really more self-conscious. I didn't feel like I could be more myself, and that's actually a point that the U.S. takes from Spain. That in here, all that sense of liberty that is kind of what is in this country brings. Every time that you think of it, is that, for example, the main statue that you guys have in New York, if I'm not wrong, the Statue of Liberty, and more stuff, I can actually film like I'm myself, and I'm actually scared of going back to Spain and losing all the progress that I've done in here. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about these 3 states that I have there. Could you click on the red one, please? Thank you. Okay, that's not supposed to happen. Yeah, I'm gonna come clear. Whoa. Okay, I think that I know what's wrong with that. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Don't worry about it. I can still talk about it. I can just go with it. Okay, that's my state. It would be Galicia. In Galicia, we actually. No. In Galicia, we speak Galician. We are actually the oldest and greenest state of Spain. So I come from the polar opposite from Tucson, from Arizona actually. In Galicia, we can date up until when it became part of the Roman Empire in 10 years before, a decade before Christ, BC. But because of the Celtic population that it was there, we can actually date from hundreds of years before that. Then we have in the southern part, we have, check if it works, maybe it won't, I don't think so. Yeah, it's not gonna work, don't worry about it. In there, we actually have Andalusia. That is probably the most known out of all from Spain, because it has Seville, that probably most people here would know it. We also, and in there you actually have, I had a picture of all my family in Cordoba's mosque, because Spain in the 700s was invaded by the Muslims, and we actually got a really big mixture of both cultures. They actually left us with a bunch of different words like almohada, sopa, different words in Spanish, and also they left us with a bunch of different really touristic spots like the Mosque of Cordoba, and actually they were the first ones to name some of the cities such as Cádiz or Seville itself. And then on top, that is probably going to be the most known, like by any chance, it's going to be where Barcelona is, Catalonia, obviously. Here they speak Catalan, that is actually a mixture between Spanish and Portuguese. Here, Barcelona, I'm going to kind of tell the story of Barcelona. Barcelona was a growing city, such as mine, that it was Vigo. And basically in Barcelona, we actually, the architecture that built it was kind of tired, because in Spain, every city has like an old town that is completely irregular plain. Well, he decided to reinvent the whole city, take it completely down, and build it from nothing. And that's kind of a really big piece in history. One of the biggest things in Barcelona would be the Sagrada Familia, that most of people know. That actually, if you sorry, that actually if you want to visit Spain, I would tell you to visit now that you can, because it's going to be completed in next 2 years, I believe. And then could we go to the last slide? Okay, here I wanted to thank some people. First, I wanted to thank the Hoffman family. Could you click in there, please? The Hoffman family. Jennifer, if you would stand up, please, and give an applause for her. If it wasn't because of you, because I know that you were the first one after Faye and Eric to say that you wanted to host me. If it wasn't because of you, I wouldn't have probably came to the U.S. and in case that I would have come, I would have gone to a complete different high school, because your family was the reason that I could access to Ironwood Reach. So thank you so much for that. Then I wanted to thank, even though they are not here, I wanted to thank Faye and Eric. These were my second host family, and they actually they are actually watching us from YouTube right now. I know that Jeannie has told me that. They have been they actually have taught me most of the things that I've learned throughout the exchange, and they have taught me morals and how to critical think. And I'm so glad that I could actually meet them. And then my current host family, and as you actually said, Bruce, that we have 7 right now, the Anderson family, please stand up. As I actually have told you, maybe in the dinner table or in other moments, you actually remind me a lot of my family, and that's something that made me reconnect, that made me happier, actually. I've learned a lot from you guys on how to talk, how to speak, how to actually think in some ways, and I actually I'm so happy that I could have spent these months with you guys. And now, obviously, we couldn't say goodbye without thanking Jeannie Sita and Cindy Doolin, even though she's not here, just because. Yep. And thank you so much, District 5500, for hosting me throughout this whole year. Now the applause is gonna be for you guys. Hey. Sorry for going away.
Okay, before you go, so Playa, before you go.
Hey, Roger, I'm going to have you, because we're running just a couple minutes behind, Roger, I'm going to have you come on up here so we can move right into the Orville McPherson afterwards.
Okay, so we have a few things to gift Playa for him to take with him when he goes back, because he'll be leaving from here on the 12th to go to the East Coast for a trip with other Rotary Youth Exchange students, and then leaving on the 25th. But here's a flag from our club to take back to your club, and a Rotary patch, one of our coins, and one of our keychains from our club. And then we have, I'll do this real quickly, we have he helped at the car show, so he has he's getting a car show shirt, which has this great design on the back. Ooh. And a car show hat. And
just puts it on, okay.
And then the shirt that he's wearing underneath his jacket was the doubles tennis team shirt that showed all the names of all of the teams that were in the state finals. And he was there, and his name is on the back. And then this is the hat that goes with that. And he forgot to mention Thomas, but Thomas also got him a neat shirt here from the University of Arizona tennis team. So you also...
All right. Thank you.
And there's a card in there as well. So thank you so much. We're going to definitely miss him. He has just been a joy to spend time with. And We also have, I was just going to quickly announce that Canon Nakamura is coming in late July. We do have the first 2 host families, thanks to Brett Stein and Sean Murray, and she is going to be enrolled at Ironwood Ridge. And then Luca, who was going to come today, ended up with a new job, and he will come in July 26th for you to meet him. He's our boy that's going to go to Japan. Thank you.
And now it is my honor to bestow the award we call the Orville McPherson Award to one of our members who has given more than expected. We don't have much time, but I know some of you maybe have knew Orville McPherson personally when he helped start this club 102 years ago. But suffice to say, he was very busy in the community and highly regarded. This award is given to a member of the Rotary Club of Tucson who best exemplifies the ideals of Rotary. The recipient is someone who consistently goes above and beyond, giving 100%. In this case, it's 150%, to make Tucson Rotary Club a very special place for all of us. I shall not reveal the name of this individual until the very end. However, very soon it will be very obvious who this person is. This person has 2 children, but only 1 spouse. Does that give you any clue here? But I assure you, all of you have been introduced to the spouse. And here we go. Now it becomes obvious. Originally from Chanhassen, this person got a degree in elementary education from Southwest State University and won a master's degree in community education administration from St. Cloud State. She or he taught 6th grade in St. Cloud, worked as elementary community school coordinator in the Anoka Hennepin School District, and then served as director of community education in Eden Prairie, a total of 38 years in education. This person also became president of the Eden Prairie Rotary Club in 2016. Of course, you all know that the aforementioned locations are in Minnesota. This person has stepped up way beyond the call of duty. Immediately upon joining our club, she attended a car show tactical leadership team to learn if she could help it along any way with the car show. After hearing a lengthy, detailed, even daunting description of the entire car show raffle ticket tracking process, she stood up and said she'd like to jump in. Jump in she did with both feet and with a big smile. She has since taken over the entire ticket promotion and tracking system. Each of these require huge amounts of time and diligence, but ticket sales tracking is a particularly massive undertaking which requires weekly implementation of a giant spreadsheet used to enter weekly ticket sales quantities for all members, nonprofits, all online sales, and other Rotary clubs. Once this data is painstakingly entered into the spreadsheet, she prepares separate reports for members notifying them of who has bought online tickets and their names, and a report summarizing individual member sales for reporting at the club meetings. In addition, she leads the weekly ticket money collections effort at each meeting, which requires detailed recording, making weekly bank deposits, and reporting the deposits to the treasurer of the show. There are other tasks involved as well, too many to list. The hours she invests are countless. Oh, and 3 years ago, she was asked to help with the Friday night dinner auction at the car show, which she agreed to do. Of course, she didn't have anything else to do. But there was no Friday night dinner due to COVID. Whew, dodge that bullet, right? That's what I would have said. No, not this person. She single-handedly developed and executed every detail of our first ever online auction, which was successful beyond expectation, generating on the order of $25,000 for our charities. Then there was the centennial year. She orchestrated a Friday night dinner auction, another online auction, and the live auction at the centennial event, which included soliciting auction items from members, entering photos and descriptions of each item into the website, wrangling the collection and distribution of all the physical auction items, and more. These auctions made a huge financial contribution to our centennial beneficiaries. Oh, and did I mention that she also serves at the district level as the Rotary District Youth Exchange Database Coordinator and our club's Exchange Student Director. Know that there have been countless hours spent and many sleepless nights in finding host families for our student this year and next, and she has graciously taken our current student, as you just heard, under her wing to be sure that his experience here is the best it could be. Oh, and did I mention that she also serves on the club board as Service Projects Director? It is my great honor to present the club's highest award, which honestly, for everything she has put into this club, this award could well be retitled in her name. To, you guessed it, say it with me, Jeannie Zita.
Wow. She's awesome.
Say a few words. Oh, here we go. Get up from the. Oh, let me have my glasses.
Wow, I did not see this one coming at all. And I just want to say I did some of those, I did do the things he talked about, but I did it with all of you. And I want to thank all of you. You know who you are. You were right there with the auction and the ticket sales, and it wasn't successful because of me. It was successful because we all worked together on it. I wasn't the auction chair. For instance, Ken Light was. We worked it together, and we've done it when Danielle Belair, the 2 years before that. But anyway, I'm very honored with this award. Thank you very much. I will keep on contributing, and as you all will be too. Thanks.
All right, if we could stand to wrap up for a toast. Is Gary and Jim, happy birthday. Is Paleo, best of luck to you. It was great to have you this past year. And Jeannie, so well deserved on your Orville McPherson Award. That's fantastic, and you've worked hard for it. So, I'd like to make a toast. Is housing has always been an American dream, to have roofs over our head, security and comfort for our families. During these challenging times of home ownership, it's been harder to reach for many, but the dream of having a roof over one's head is not. So a toast to Clayton and the work they're doing to help fulfill the American dream. Hear, hear. We are adjourned.